Hey Harmonizers, welcome to this video with Aoife, the Mustang, who's doing lots of really incredible things and big time firsts. This big first is putting a blanket on for the first time to do a Bemer treatment. Well, we had done the saddle pad and things like that before to make sure that she was okay with stuff going on before we put the expensive Bemer blanket on her. But I thought it'd be nice for her to start to have Bemer treatments and be wearing that type of things. But I hadn't really worked on putting a lot of stuff on her. So it's a bit of a new thing, and I'm really proud of how she's doing because in the background you can see there's a horse riding by, which is right behind her bum. And even little things like that can be big things for Mustangs because it's all new and different, and it's all things that they have to get used to and just kind of exposing them to domestic life. And this was in, I think, towards the end of the summer. I'm just a little behind on getting all my videos up just with lots of family stuff going on. So I apologize for not getting these things up in a timely manner for you guys to enjoy the journey with me. But I'll show you guys a bunch of different big firsts, even getting to long lining with Aoife in this video. But as you can see, as that's Katie who's putting the blanket on Aoife, she is getting cookies along the way. Miss Aoife's getting the cookies, and we want to make sure she has what I call a positive association, meaning that a thing gets put on you and it's good and it's happy. You're going to, get some cookies, which helps give that feel-good feeling, but also the Bemer itself, once we get it turned on and it's working, will also feel really good for her. Now, who's Katie? Katie is a student intern that's with me from Europe, and so she's here for a couple months doing a lot of learning and helping out with the horses, which is great. And she gets probably the most wide variety of experiences I think pretty much any student intern could have, because she gets to work with the Mustangs, she gets to work with a whole bunch of other horses in big firsts, so it's a pretty cool experience. And here's another big first for Aoife. She is getting her feet trimmed for the first time. So it's something that I had been able to pick up her feet and was working on that, but transferring that to another person being able to pick up the horse's feet is another task. And one of the things that I've noticed with Mustangs is if they have a consistent person that's working with them, in this case it's me that's been working with Aoife, it's also another process to transfer their trust to another human, because they can definitely bond with one person and be distrusting of others. And it doesn't mean that those other people have done anything bad to them. It just means that they really do recognize who their person is. And so the reason why I had Katie putting the blanket on her and not me is because I'm sure if I did it, it'd be even easier and smoother and not so worrisome for Aoife. But it was an opportunity for her to start to build trust in a different person. And so it's great. Like Katie was also working on picking up her feet. And you can see Aoife had a little moment there where she kind of jumped to the side. And sometimes, things are going well. And then you can see he just gives her a little pat, like reassures her he's going to pick up her foot again. So it's not always smooth sailing. It's like, oh no, what's this person doing? And you can see me with the food. I essentially kind of play this game of you only get to eat out of the bucket when your foot is up with the farrier. And then you get your bucket back and you get your food. So there's absolutely no discipline for her being upset and worried and taking her foot back because she got scared about something. Totally understandable. She's like, oh, I don't really know what's going on. This is all different, new process. But the food definitely helps make it a lot less strenuous for everybody. So here you can see I'm kind of watching and I kind of like waiting. And then I'm like, okay, the foot is up. And now you get to have your bucket of all the food there. And Bunny's beside her. Bunny's like a nice, chill, quiet horse. So she's there giving calm energy. We also had Aoife in on the cross ties. She got to watch another horse get trimmed before her, so she could kind of see what the farrier's doing and understand things a little bit more, trying not to surprise her. But it's definitely a process to transfer everything over to a different person. And this is kind of cute. This is out in the field. That's the colt Gingy, who is Bunny's colt, out in the field. And he hangs out with Aoife a lot, which is kind of cool. And this is her first time wearing a surcingle. So wearing like the saddle pad with something around her belly. And I always love to start with getting them to move around like sideways, haunches, forehand turns, all those kinds of things, rather than just getting the horse to start lunging and getting them to bronc out a little bit. Goodness, she looks gorgeous. Look at that little face looking at us. She looks really, really good. And she did a fantastic job. So Katie here is moving her around a little bit, getting her to cross her legs. And what was interesting, so Katie coming from Europe, she said that her knowledge of groundwork was mostly just lunging. That's pretty much what it's been taught over there. And she's been with a few different barns over the years, or a few different people over the years there, and has studied horses both in the Netherlands and in Poland. And that's pretty interesting that she didn't know, like she had never asked a horse to go sideways on the ground before, other than maybe like stepping over out of your space when you're grooming them on the cross ties or something like that. But she'd never asked a horse to do haunch turns or forehand turns or sideways. So this is all new for Katie. And Aoife knows this stuff because I've done a lot of that stuff with her. But this is pretty neat that Aoife is getting to transfer that trust to a different human, and then Katie's getting to practice learning how to do these ABC skills. ABCs is what I call them because it's like the horse's ABCs, the basis to their language. And this here is Aoife's first time long lining, and so that's me long lining because definitely Katie had never long lined before, and so it's not always a great combination to have a horse that's never long lined before with a person who's never long lined before, because it can be tricky. They can get kind of confused, and then it's a little bit tricky to tell them to go left or right and go, and you have to know not to hold both reins if you're trying to turn, all of these little pieces. Or here, for example, doing the first halt with Aoife, I'm like, oh no, please don't pull the reins out of my hands. But it's important that I teach her to actually stop and wait. And then I go up and I'm going to give her a cookie afterwards before we continue walking on. And so these things are really important because if you allow the horse to just pull the reins out of your hands, this is all prepping for teaching the horse to be a riding horse. And it's trying to combine the cues that I've already taught her, not on the long lines, about how to go and to stop and to whoa and back up, all of those little pieces, but now we're just trying to put them together with the long lines. So it's important to have that timing, because if you're not asking in the right moment, it can be really confusing. Or there, when I was asking her to go, I'm using a really big sweeping rhythm so that way Aoife can really see me very clearly. And even just the rope handling skills can be very tricky for people, because if you're not used to doing that, you're fumbling with your ropes, you're trying to get everything happening, and then it's just not working super well. So here you can see again, I kind of do a big sweeping motion so that way Aoife really sees me. That's the goal, is for her to see me. And then sometimes I'll use the ropes at the side of her and I'm kind of bumping her because I want my ropes to mimic her being squeezed or given those little kicks with legs to ask her to go. It's her opportunity to learn that they don't mean we don't like you, they just mean that we want to communicate. And there you can see her stop and her back up getting so much smoother. So she's going to get a cookie, of course. And then here's one more little clip of her out in the field with Gingy choosing to hang out with her, which is pretty cool, even though his mom is still in the paddock. Well, thanks for watching. Let me know your favorite part.
Remember to subscribe and check out harmonyhorsemanship.com for even more learning.